In the words of Justin Trudeau, another Canadian citizen was shot dead in the Winnipeg city today. And now, facts for you. This man was Sukhadul Singh, alias Sukha Dunike, a gangster, a criminal, openly flaunting assault rifles, who fled India evading law years ago and somehow strangely managed to find clearance, visa, shelter in Canada. Despite forged documents, despite past criminal details, he had been living in Canada for years now. Killed few hours ago in an inter-gang rivalry, according to our sources. And Lawrence Bishnoi gang officially has taken responsibility for killing this gangster who they were at odds with. This criminal Sukha was the close aide of Arshdeep Dalla. Why is this name familiar? Arshdeep Dalla is also believed to be in Canada and had recently claimed responsibility for the murder of the Congress leader Baljinder Singh Balli in Punjab just about a few days ago. Apart from political blame game, the fact is, what does it say about Canadian authorities that they are willing to allow shelter to men with criminal indulgences and those who have evaded law and fled from other countries, especially a friendly country? Is this not putting their own nation in danger too, eventually? If Canadian intelligence claims to have knowledge about Indian agencies allegedly behind the killing of extremist leader Hardeep Singh Nijjar, do they really not have intelligence of criminals who are operating on their own country's soil? Western nations who are allies of Canada have meanwhile chosen to remain cautious in response. They've expressed concerns to what Canada has said. They've even asked India to cooperate. But Canada has clearly failed to convince and persuade G7 countries to refer to Ottawa's allegations. That is why you do not see these nations targeting India, realizing that India in fact has long expressed concerns, shared evidence with Canada in rising Khalistan extremism that is happening in Canada. Listen in now to Michael Rubin. He's a senior fellow of the American Enterprise Institute based in Washington, D.C. And this is why he thinks America should not drag itself into these Trudeau allegations and actually stand with India.
Honestly, my assessment of Justin Trudeau is that he's superficial, he's cynical, he opened a can of worms without fully understanding what was going to happen when he did this. I don't think his motivations were pure. Now he's trying to cover up the situation, which it's just a tragedy on all sides. My only advice for the Americans is don't let Justin Trudeau drag us down.
Interestingly, while the Western governments are cautious in response, look how a section in Western media is trying to enhance a narrative to corner India and show India as the aggressor, a country that in fact has been fighting terrorism and criminals for decades now. India's attempts to suppress terrorism is seen as a problem somehow, and that it appears to be also threatening India to face consequences of the allegations made by Trudeau. Washington Post, as usual, hinting that Hardeep Singh Nijjar should be called an activist. I'm sure as journalists, we were and are expected to know the difference between activism and extremism, or worse, terrorism. I will quote here Dr. Shashi Tharoor, who is the Congress Member of Parliament, who has said this on Western media. I never cease to be amazed by the blinkers regularly put on by the Western media. They are so quick to judge other countries, so blind to their own. The two foremost practitioners of extraterritorial assassinations in the last 25 years has been Israel and the United States of America. Are mirrors available in the West or not? Says Shashi Tharoor. Now, because of Trudeau's statement based on allegations and a potential link and the resultant worsening relationship, look what has happened now. In the latest, India suspended the visa services for Canadians, citing operational reasons. This BLS notice was uploaded on the website, removed and then uploaded again. This clearly means that messages are being sent and tensions are prevailing between the two countries. There is a saying, those who live by the sword die by the sword. In modern day, it can go as if you live by the gun, violence, extortions, abductions and assassinations, you will die by the gun too eventually. In the past 3 years, many of these Khalistani extremists have died in mysterious circumstances, mostly because of inter-gang rivalry. Harmeet Singh, who was a designated Khalistani terrorist by India, had found shelter in Lahore in Pakistan. He was found mysteriously killed in 2020. Ripudman Singh Malik, who was linked to the Air India Kanishka bombing that had claimed the life of 331 people, was shot dead in 22 in Canada. Again, Canada giving shelters to these extremists even when Canadian citizen lives were lost. Paramjeet Panwar, a leader of the Khalistan Commando Force, was shot dead in 2023 in the month of May, again in Lahore in Pakistan, that continues to give them shelter. Avtar Singh Khanda, one of the most dreaded leaders of the Khalistan Liberation Force, died in a UK hospital. But according to the UK administration, it was health issues that had led to his death eventually. And recently, Hardeep Singh Nijjar, the leader of the Khalistan Tiger Force and the Sikhs for Justice propagandist group, was found shot dead in the month of June in 2023, again in Canada, that had given them shelter. The tragedy amid all of this, that Canada refuses to see the difference between Khalistani extremists and the larger Sikh community that are known for seva, for their contribution in nation building. They are not known as a community for this violence and brutalities. Sikhs are now speaking up against the mess created by the Canadian Prime Minister and thinking that Khalistanis represent all Sikhs and that they are all against India. Jess Singh, a gentleman from the Sikh community and a chairperson of the Sikhs of America, had an important message to give. Here's what he had to say.
Unfortunately, it seems like all Sikhs are supporting them, but it is not. To give you the numbers, so there are about 800,000 Sikhs living in United States of America. And whenever there are protests happening, only 50 people show up. So you can see that vast majority of Sikhs are not aligned with this Khalistan movement, and they love India. And this whole talk about Pannu giving ultimatum to Hindus to leave Canada is total, nonsense. Sikhs are standing with their Hindu brothers, Muslims brother, Christian brothers, any Indian who is in US or Canada, Sikhs are standing with them.
As I conclude, I will hope that India and Canada will resolve any confusion or tensions, because eventually it harms people living in both countries who have absolutely no problem with each other. And that should be the focus of Justin Trudeau's government. Apart from ensuring law and order, that should be in place in Canada and is not currently. Remember, India has always and already alerted Canada for years now of what a Frankenstein that Khalistan extremism can become for Canada. We hope Canadian government and its citizens are listening. Thank you for watching.
Thank you, Pooja.
If you start playing cricket when you're young, the aspiration is playing for India, for example. So in motorcycling, it's MotoGP.
I am at the Budh International Circuit, where players from across 20 countries are expected to participate in what is being called as the Indian Grand Prix. Blink an eye and you'll miss it, because they are going to be overtaking each other at speeds of more than 300 kilometers per hour. We in fact have bike enthusiasts and Ranvijay Singh who are here today to test the tracks.
For as long as I remember, I always wanted to be on a motorcycle. I saw my dad, my dad's friends, everybody in the army having a motorcycle. My chacha had a motorcycle. He used to actually do the stunts. If you see the Republic Day parade and the guys who are on the motorcycles, the Enfields, the army. So he was the captain of that team, of the Tornadoes. MotoGPs, like I started going to MotoGPs across the world. And finally, when I realized that MotoGP Bharat, Pushkar and the gang, they've figured out a way of getting it to India. It was unbelievable. So having this chat in India, being on a track in India for MotoGP it was unthinkable actually for me, but now it's amazing.
When we were kids, like GK, we had these questions, who's the only Formula 1 rider. So we always, Narayan Karthik in. So but for bikes, there was nobody. So now Ahmed coming into the picture, opening up a lot of opportunities for a lot of youngsters out there.
So these bikes are the most fuel efficient, weight efficient bikes. They're not even as aesthetic as you would get the one that you buy. These are like rugged, they are more mechanical and more tech and more speed and balance oriented than what you will get.
Corners are definitely essential, but it's also about the fast lanes, like especially the finish line and the straight stretch from T3 to T4, from turn 3 to turn 4. We have that. That's like the biggest part where like the bikes are gonna like rev it up. So I'm pretty sure that T4 is gonna be really hot and happening, because after a very fast thing they'll have to brake, and let's see how it goes.
And definitely the female motorcyclist has come up, like more females are going towards the motorcycling and passionate about it, and moreover going for that. So slowly, gradually they are getting out of their comfy zone and getting onto the motorcycles.
You want to do stunt riding, because there was a show that I was doing, be in a cordoned off area which is meant for that, not on the road. You want to ride bikes, you want your parents to respect that you're a motorcyclist, instead of buying and spending money on all the other frivolous things, buy the elbow guard, buy the spine guard. So suddenly people are like, यार ये जो भी है ना, ये biker है, ये बहुत इज्जत देता है उस चीज को. I have been a huge Valentino Rossi fan, so I can say that, like everybody else. Even in my email, 46 is there. In my keychain, there is a 46.
See, my favorite is Valentino Rossi, and unfortunately just retired a few years ago. I'm so sad that he in his era MotoGP didn't come to India.
I ride Ducati motorcycle, so I have a little bit of turn towards the Ducati team. So that is the thing that, the racer, if I say, then obviously Marc Marquez.
For more informative videos like this, keep watching India Today Newsmo.